We're going to have a few people talk about some of the test cases that are being worked on right now or have been completed. I think we have a couple people who are going to talk about the abuse and neglect cases that have been referred, and actually there's some questions that we're working on out in the hall that people want to know about, and someone from the Juvenile Probation Department to talk about those cases. So Vivek, would you like to go first and talk about your case a little bit? Sure. Vivek Sankaran is the director of the Child Advocacy Law Clinic at the University of Michigan Law School.
So our clinic represents children and parents involved in the foster care system. We had one case that went through the peacemaking process involving a 17-year-old child who had been homeless for, since her mother died. So it's been about 3 to 4 years of just being homeless on the streets. Came into the system because she had health issues but did not have a parent who could consent to her medical care. And so when we met our client, she was somebody who just had a really challenging time building relationships with anybody. As you can imagine, she was on her own, did not have any parental figures telling her what to do, had no sort of community and support. And so as we were trying to figure out how to piece together her life, it was just a challenge in terms of getting her to form relationships with all sorts of actors, the court, caseworkers, lawyers. And so this was thought of as a potential case for the peacemaking process. And as I look around the room, there's several people here who participated in the circle as well. Our client was reluctant, as you can imagine, to go through this process. And so we took some persuasion on our part as her lawyers to sort of get her to the table. I think when she walked in to the circle, I think what struck her most was just the embrace that she got, right? Being greeted by hugs instead of sort of a standoffish, sort of formal system. And she just immediately felt at home. The first circle we had, it was just the lawyer, so me and my students, this child, and a community support person who was part of the circle, and then the facilitator. So it was almost to get this child comfortable with this process. And we did something very similar to what we did today, just to get her talking about her goals and her values. We made a list on the board of what she wanted out of the case, which was pretty similar to the list that the caseworker had made with her. But it was just in a different environment and getting her to sort of vocalize some of the things that she wanted to do. Then we had a follow-up session with the caseworker, supervisor, as well as our team. And it was a really great opportunity to sort of mend some relationships. It was a case that needed some work developing relationships between the professionals, between the child and the professionals. And at the end, we sort of made a list of things that we were working towards. Do I know that this child is now set and is going to have a bright future because of what we've done? No, right? I mean, we're trying to remedy years and years and years of issues of abandonment, and I don't know if they're successful. What I know is she left the circle much more hopeful about the possibility of our system being able to help her. She's taken some baby steps towards, taking control of her life. She's went to an orientation session here just last week, and so she's been to 2 court hearings now, and so there's at least a little more engagement. And so, from my perspective, that compared to where we were 2 months ago, in this case, that's a win to get this child to realize that there are community members who care about her. The other thing that's helped quite a bit is through the circle, she's been connected with some people in the community who are helping her in very concrete ways in terms of taking her to some appointments, just showing that this kid has no family who really cares about her. And so the circle has connected her with other people in the community that can give her a chance to feel like, that she's loved by folks. Because for this kid, that's the big, I think, hurdle, is to show that there are people who care about her. And my hope is that the circle will give her a chance to do that. I think our idea is, at least started to make some progress on the case. In terms of how many circles we'll have, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll build some more in the future if our client wants it. But at least I think we'd be in a much worse off position in this case today, if not for having gone through this process. So I, as their lawyer, I'm thankful to the DRC and the facilitators. Jan Whitehead, who's here, was one of the supports at the meeting and came to court, for our review hearings to support this child. And just, I think it's just reemphasizing to our families that as a community, we care quite a bit about the kids and the parents in our system. So I've had a good experience with it, and I'm looking forward to having more of my own cases participate in the process.
Hi, my name is Michael Frese, and I represent respondent parents going through the abuse and neglect process. Currently, one of my cases is actively involved in the Peacemaking circle process, and it's ongoing, so it's still not finished. We've had, I think, about 3 meetings so far. We're going to continue progressing forward. Just a little background of this particular case is it's one of the more difficult cases. It involves 2 parents, 11 children. My client is the mother of all 11 of those children. The father has 8 of those children. Both these parents are homeless and extremely low income. So resources are extremely difficult to go by. There's also a little bit of mental health component in regards to some depression. So there's a lot of obstacles that need to be surmounted, and that was one of the main reasons why it went into the peace circle, was because we needed some creative ways to help this family. Sometimes I think in the foster care system, you can get a list of services that you need to do, and you're kind of on your own in achieving those services due to the limited resources of the foster care workers and the people involved. And looking at this case, it simply was that if that was going to happen to this case, simply the reunification was not going to happen. So it needed something more. And so we came to the Peace Circle with various members of the community, various other organizations, and worked together to try to come up with certain creative ways to help this family. Transportation, ways to help them connect with housing, not just give them a number, but sit down with them, have them call that number, have them go to these appointments, and help with that, and also to keep them accountable by checking in on a monthly basis. And so far, the case has been going pretty well. There are still challenges that need to be surmounted, and we keep working on those challenges. However, the case has gone much farther than it would have otherwise. Without the Peace Circle, I believe the parents probably would have just fallen off the face of the earth. We might have not heard from them much. However, with this, they are engaged. They are communicating with various associations, various members with foster care, and they are working through that. Also, the Peace Circle has allowed us the opportunity to work through conflicts that sometimes happen with parents and workers, or with parents and other individuals, and put that out in the open, and kind of go beyond what would almost seem like an insurmountable wall in most cases, where you would be like, well, that's it. There's just some things that cannot be repaired. However, the Peace Circle has allowed us to come together as a group and, air those issues, work through those issues, brainstorm ways to continue working on those issues. And I believe because of that, the case still remains on a little bit of a hopeful trajectory. And a large part of that has to do with the Peace Circle and the individuals involved in the Peace Circle being open and willing to think outside the box and work closely with this family. In some cases, go above and beyond what is normally the case in these sort of reunification plans. However, the important value is to remember that when we're looking for reunification, that is the goal, and we need to do what we can to make that happen. And Peace Circle has allowed us to do that, and I think it's a very positive step forward, and they'll continue to be positive. And I expect that we'll have many, many more Peace Circles to come before this family with these many challenges get over it. But I am hopeful that that will come. And so it has been a good experience for me, and I believe it's been a good experience for the family as well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is JaVonda. I'm a juvenile probation officer. I work specifically with adolescents who come into the juvenile court with problem sexual behaviors, and they are ordered into our sex offender treatment alternative program. So we use the closing circle process at the end of their journey in this program, and we're calling it a CSC, or Sex Offender Treatment Closing Circle. And the youth actually goes through the program. It takes about 12 months for them to complete the program. And when we have the closing circles, we come together, all involved parties, the youth, their families, their supports. And in the example that I'm going to share with you, the actual parent of the victim also attended the circle. Well, we all get together in the courtroom. It's closed, making it more intimate. We sit together in the circle and we talk about their actual journey and their transformation and everything that occurred with the youth as well as with their families while they were in the program. It serves to celebrate, honor, and reintegrate. We celebrate, honor the youth and their families for going through the actual program, and we also reintegrate them back into the community and back into their families. And the hope is that they will continue to move forward with reconciliation with the victims as well. So the case that I'm going to talk with you about, a young man who was in the program for about 12 months. Prior to his offense, there was a lot of instability with him and his family. They had moved about 2 times before the actual offense occurred. So a lot of instability. Came into the program, worked in treatment with Mr. Lankert, community supervision with myself, a lot of interaction with him, with his parents. And at the end of the journey, which was in March, we came together in Judge Carney's courtroom, moved forward with the closing circle. And what we do use as the talking piece, we utilize a stone that has an engraved word on it. And for this young man, the engraved word was hope. We wanted him to continue to be hopeful about his future, to continue to be hopeful about reconciling with his maternal aunt, who was the mother of the victim, as well as reconciling with the victim who happened to be his first cousin. We always start out telling a story or reading a poem. And when these young persons are in our program, we continue to work with them on creative and poetic expressions. So this young man wrote a number of poems while in the program. And one of the poems that he wrote, he gave us permission to utilize it as the storytelling, the opening piece of the circle. And I'm going to share with you a couple of things that he wrote in the poem, if you don't mind. And that kind of helps us to actually get grounded when we start the circles, to go back to those 4 areas of balance, focusing on the mind, the body, the heart, and the spirit. So this is what this young man wrote. And the title of his poem is Time. And he writes, tick-tock, tick-tock is all I hear. The sun rises and sets as the clock ticks. Life goes on in an inevitable repeat. The choice I make will always stick with me, because no matter what I choose, one will be sacrificed or one will be regretted forever. And he ends it by saying, tick-tock, tick-tock, as the sun sets and rises in an eternal cycle that can never be broken by the fate of heart. That fate, which I may never break free of. I must despise time, though time is what I need most, because the thought of time will always bring about the time for thought. And this young man put a lot of time, dedication, and devotion into writing this poem. Based on the information that I just shared with you, it was obvious that he continued to want to work towards reconciliation with his family, and he had some concerns about his behaviors and his decision-making. I don't have anything else to share, but I'm so grateful and honored to be a part of Judge Connor's peacemaking court. I'm a firm believer in the peacemaking process. And I did bring some samples of some booklets that we put together. It's titled, My Hopes, My Dreams, My Struggles, and My Journey. And Mr. Lincoln and I always put together their creative and poetic expressions. So I brought about 6 of these, and we will kind of pass these around so you can take an opportunity to read through and read some of the things that the youth create while they are in our program. Thank you for your time.